We're going to talk about a player that's honestly been super underrated over the past few weeks, and I think it's finally time we get the right media sort of presence behind him. Let's take the narratives that we've known about this guy and put it to the side. The graphics changing right now. We're going to the Phoenix Suns, and we're talking about Dillon Brooks.
Dang, I thought you were gonna say Russell Westbrook.
Wow.
No,
You gave a nice intro. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna say Russ, but no. But Dillon Brooks deserves it 100%.
exactly.
Yeah.
But shout out to Russell Westbrook. Again, we're seeing vintage Harden, vintage Russ, but we're talking about Dillon Brooks. And Dillon Brooks is having one of, I think, his best season of his career. And he's starting to change the views amongst NBA fans.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's someone that's grown on me a lot over the years. And I'm really glad that the world is starting to open their eyes a little bit more. So I have a bunch of stats for y'all if you want me to, list them off. So
Let's
this
hear it.
season, he is averaging 21 points,
Wow.
3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals on 45% from the field, 34% from 3, and 85% from the free throw line.
Wow.
So again, very kind of like efficient as how, he came into the league. I don't think he was the most efficient guy that ever lived when he first came into the league. His
No.
first season, he shot about 44% from the field, about 30% from 3, and below 80% from the line. So he's improved drastically over the course of his career. The last 5 games specifically, he's averaging 25 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals on 52% from the field, 38% from 3 on 32 minutes a game.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Is he coming off the bench?
No, he's starting.
He's starting.
He's a starter.
Starting small forward. Remember, he's essentially replacing Kevin Durant in that Phoenix lineup. 20 or more points in 4 of the last 5 games, and in 2 of those games had over 32,
It's
Yeah.
impressive.
which is it's incredible. We're waiting for that 40-point performance from Dillon Brooks. I know he's capable of it. And we're going to put a tweet on the screen from the Suns' actual account saying that Dillon Brooks is the fastest player ever in Suns history to reach 200 or more points and 25 three-pointers made this season.
You would think that would be Kevin Durant or Devin Booker to get that record, but
No?
yeah, wow.
It's Dillon Brooks.
That is
I mean, we
crazy.
saw last year his capabilities. Didn't he make like 10 threes in one game
Something like
for the
that.
Rockets?
Yeah, he did.
It was kind of insane. I think he had like 7 or 8 threes in one game this season.
I saw that as luck though.
No, I
Like he
think
just got hot that one night.
yeah, but he's starting to show that more and more over the
Right.
course of his career, at
Right.
least the latter portion leading up into now. And we're going to put another tweet on the screen. This is from Booker Muse. That's right. We're putting Muse accounts on the Floor Spacer podcast in 2025. But this is from the Draymond Green show because he had Matt Ishby on, the owner of the Suns. And he was talking about the Suns culture. And obviously we know last year that team was kind of like in the drink culture-wise. And he said, everyone understands we're trying to compete every day. He called Draymond, a floor raiser, a winner, a champion. How do I get people like that who care? And he said, Dillon Brooks is definitely someone that cares. He might agitate the other 29 teams, but for us, he's exactly what we're about. He's a tough, hard-nosed guy who wants to compete every game, and he's going to do whatever he can to help us win. And then he said, playing hard and caring about winning are skills, and you need to make sure your guys have those skills. I'm lucky to have guys like that and a great young head coach that's bringing them all together. And one of the main reasons why he hired Jordan Knott is because of the defensive schemes and the defensive-minded, sets that he wants to run, which, is something that Budenholzer very much lacked last season
Yeah.
as a so-called defensive-minded head coach. And as far as like Dillon Brooks goes, the Suns' defensive rating last season, they were 3rd bottom in the NBA. And this year, they are a top 7 team defensively. So already a huge shift. And now, obviously they have other guys that are good defensively, like Ryan Dunn, for example, is a stalwart. Their bigs are good defensively, whether you throw in Mark Williams, Kaman Malawach, or whoever. Royce O'Neal's post defense is one of the most underrated in the NBA. I saw him go toe-to-toe with guys when he was in Brooklyn, and I really loved what I saw. And we're going to put another tweet on the screen here from Biased Houston. He's a big Rockets fan account on Twitter, saying, I realized very early on into the Dillon Brooks experience that the narratives surrounding him as a player are all false. I said last year Dillon Brooks was arguably our most consistent scorer. For sure, the most consistent perimeter scorer, which is why I would say the three-point shooting is not a fluke. And then he says, and then you factor in the defense and the intangibles he brings to a locker room. This is one of the best role players in the entire league, and everyone acts like he sucks. Because
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, because think about it this way. The teams he's been on, that Memphis team, they were talking their shit 24/7, and he would get in LeBron's face. He was kind of the poster child of that series. And when they lost, he essentially got scapegoated.
Yep.
Right.
And he signed with Houston on that contract, 4 years, $84 million. And then the same kind of thing. He was the main shit talker against the Warriors. Draymond Green gaslit him the entire series, and he wound up being traded for Kevin Durant, which is collateral. That's fine. But you can see the Memphis Grizzlies have lost all that energy since he's gone.
Yeah.
And Ja
They needed
Morant
that.
is a loose cannon. We literally just saw what he did yesterday with Klay Thompson. It was unacceptable.
What did he do to Clay? Because I saw Clay's post-game
He called him a
comments.
bum. He said he was washed
yeah,
out. He pointed in
Ja.
his face.
Yeah.
First of all, Klay played great that game. Second of all, Klay's a 4-time champion and a Hall of Famer. What has Ja Morant done in his career? I've been trying to carry water for Ja Morant, but at the end of the day, you got to back it up. And on a day you're not playing, you should be talking your shit when you are playing.
Yeah.
I thought he said something about Meg.
No,
No, I don't think so.
no, definitely not. You're not going to bring the family into it or any
Well,
significant
players
others.
do that.
They do, but
Yeah.
he wouldn't do that.
Right.
But with Dillon Brooks, again, there's this narrative. He was very critical of Dillon Brooks last season,
Yeah.
as a guy that's not good, a guy
Ja
that's...
was?
No, Antoine
I
said about
was.
Dillon Brooks.
Oh, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Dillon Brooks has gotten a lot of undeserved flack over the course of his career, and it's starting to open my eyes a little bit more into the player that he is. And we're kind of really seeing this. And not only are we seeing him elevate the guys around him, like we've seen the way Jordan Goodwin and Colin Gillespie are playing.
Yeah.
They're playing obscene. They're both averaging career years over anywhere from 10 to 15 points a game on however many good stats they are. And we're also seeing the rise of the Canadian players. Dillon Brooks, born and raised in Canada. We saw how incredible Andrew Nemhard was last season in the playoffs. The brilliance of SGA, the brilliance of Jamal Murray. Dillon Brooks is next in line. We even had a good game from Zach Edey the other day.
Yeah.
So the
Get out of
Canadians,
town.
he had 12 and 16.
No.
So we're starting to see the Canadians come into their own. But Dillon Brooks is someone that I'm really happy is starting to change the viewpoints of NBA fans. And he's really vital for this Suns team in changing the culture. So I talked to you about Chris Paul the other day. He brings a new look to a team that's lacking in any sort of veteran status or any sort of culture, and he helps rise it up. And now that Dillon Brooks is young, he's helping the team essentially play well. And the Suns are playing incredible. They're like a top 6 team in the West right now.
Right.
So let's go to you first, Giovanni.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what you're seeing from Dillon Brooks this season?
Yeah. I really saw the rise of Dillon Brooks last season on the Rockets. That's when I started to see him as a guy that can get his own shot, as a guy that could even facilitate for others, more than I've ever seen before. And it's obvious that he's taken what he did for the Rockets, like as that veteran guy, and then he's brought it to the Phoenix Suns, right? And so now he's not only that leader that he's always been. Even in Memphis, he was that leader, that locker room leader. Like I was watching this video on Instagram, and the Grizzlies were walking out. They had all this swag.
Yeah.
And guess who was in the front?
Dillon Brooks.
It's Dillon Brooks. He's the culture. He's that leader. He's the glue. He's that guy, right?
Yeah.
So he had that. He's always had that. I always saw that in him. But he didn't really have, like you said, Anthony, he's just okay. He's an okay player. And he really was just an okay player when he was on those, those Grizzly teams. He was an okay player.
Right.
But he always had that leadership to him, right? And now he's adding to it, the ability to score baskets any given time, right?
Exactly.
Shooting ability, passing ability, like all this facilitation. Like he's adding that to his bag, and this is why the Suns are this good, so far this year. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is probably some of the best help that Devin Booker's gotten since that finals team in 2021 when you had Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, DeAndre Ayton, who's now good again as well. So, I mean, obviously this Suns team is a whole different look to that team 4 years ago. How can you see this team ceiling-wise with a guy like Dillon Brooks this year and how he can help Devin Booker out?
Well, listen, when we did our preseason rankings, I put the Suns really high, and you guys flamed me for that. I said, listen, this roster is too good to be bad. Same thing as Cleveland last year. And, they're the 6th seed right now. They've won 9 of their last 10.
Where'd you put them in your
I
rank?
think I put them into playing.
He put him in 7th or 8th.
Yeah. You guys had them bottom barrel.
I had them
We did.
14th. I did not see anything
No.
of them being good.
Listen, I said that the roster's too good to be like that bad. Even with the Brooks acquisition, because we know they got Brooks, Jalen Green. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, the guys coming in, like Goodwin and Gillespie, like Tyler mentioned, Brooks stepping in, knowing that Booker's the main scorer on this team, Green is out. Brooks is kind of the guy who needs to step up a little more for the money he's making as well. And we've seen it on Houston. The crazy thing like with Memphis is that he was a starter, but he wasn't scoring like crazy. He was the defender in that team. And then the whole series happened, and in the offseason, we're like, Dillon Brooks may not be signed to any team. Like, nobody wanted him. And then all the blue Houston throws this massive deal, and we're like, what the actual hell? Like,
That was
Houston?
that was when I first noticed.
Like, the only team that saw his worth was Houston. I mean, I guess, like I said, a team that wants someone like that will pay you the money. And other teams in that current moment in time are like, we don't want this on our team. But Houston, I mean, it worked for Houston. They got Kevin Durant back in return.
Yeah.
You know, and it helped their culture build up. Unfortunately, he had to go with Green to get Durant. It's part of the business. But going to Houston right now, a team that is sort of in like a rebuild, retool type of year with guys that are already proven. Mark Williams is looking better. I don't know why that physical with LA didn't go through. He looks fine.
Yeah.
O'Neal's a vet. Grayson Allen's now a vet, I consider. Booker's a star. Brooks is a vet. Green's a rising star. You know, the pieces are there, and Brooks got to stepping up on the leadership, like you said, Gio. Being a leader with Book, knowing that Book's kind of the main guy there. Brooks is kind of the, I guess, older vet, like, you know, been through, like,
He's a star player.
ups and downs of, like,
He's the franchise guy. He's the one that's going to be the one everyone looks up to.
I didn't know he was averaging 21 points a game, like because he wasn't even in because he was injured the first week, so that's why he's not in like the scoring stats. He's not there. I don't know why. Yeah. But listen, 21 points is his career high right now, and great for him. I mean, I always
You think he'll keep that up?
I would think so because Jalen Green's not playing.
You would think so?
Yeah, I think
Jalen Green's not playing.
Because I mean, if you look, his lowest scoring output was the previous two teams he played on. Obviously, offensively in Memphis, you had Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. He was clearly the fourth option at most, and even sometimes he wasn't even the top 5 option. You go to a team like Houston, you have Jalen Green, you have Jabari Smith, and you obviously have the brilliance of Alperen Şengün. Again, it wasn't really a place where he could break out. That's what do you think Larry Markkinen did when he finally got to Utah and finally got the keys?
Yeah.
Same with Michael Porter Jr. getting to Brooklyn. On the Nuggets team, he was like the 3rd, 4th, or 5th scoring option. And Larry Markkinen on a Bulls team with Jimmy Butler, and on a Cavs team with a bunch of young up and coming stars. No, it was before he got traded for Mitchell. So you still had guys like Garland that were there, but it wasn't a place for him to thrive. There were guys that were there that were going to take over instead. So I look at this as kind of that same thing. He's not the first option, but I think he is going to be the second option even when Jalen Green comes back from his injury. Yeah. I do think Brooks is becoming that guy, and I think you might see him get a decent amount of all-star votes because he's playing like one. Yeah. He's reminding me of what Norman Powell, is doing last season, and he's hooping his butt off this season in Miami. I'm so happy with what I'm seeing. But with Brooks, I think you're seeing two-way brilliance because on the defensive end, he's making that team way better. Yeah, because that Suns team could not guard a coin last year.
Yeah, that's what he brings, that intensity. Yeah, and that you can't can't put a value on that. It's immense.
The vibe of his personality translates perfectly to the basketball court. And like Matt Ishbia said, he's going to piss you off. That's what he does.
Exactly.
And sometimes he'll get into little scraps, but like I said.
It's good. They needed that.
Exactly. Like I said, Draymond Green has done so many dirty things in his career. But at the end of the day, the dude is a dynasty foundation. He has 4 championships and is a first ballot Hall of Famer. It works if you have guys that can play off of that and feed off that energy. And that's exactly what Dillon Brooks is doing. And, congratulations to him. Let's see if he can keep it up.
Yeah, I mean, listen. As a Knicks fan, I always hate playing against him because he's just a menace. But we would love to have something like that on my team, especially because if he's keeping up this scoring and defense that for any team, and you would want a leader that's going to have their guys' back, that's always going to be appreciated.
How many first-round picks you want to give up for him?
I don't want him that bad, but I wouldn't mind him on the team. Yeah. He should have not been scapegoated.
Who do you think provides more value, Brooks or Bridges?
Brooks.
Yes. I agree with that.
I agree. I think they're pretty close.
They're close.
But Brooks gives you know what you're getting with Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
Brooks, you get more with that because Mikal Bridges is soft.
Yeah.
100%.
Brooks is not. Mikal's going to suit up every night,
Right.
Yeah,
but he doesn't
exactly.
bring that extra oomph when
No.
it comes to Dillon Brooks.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
that's why I go.
I mean,
Brooks.
I'm happy because like he's boosting my son's agenda, so keep balling.
Exactly.
You know, and he's proven me wrong. I mean, listen, he's a great player. He's kind of from Memphis to now. It's been a big jump. So I think he's definitely earned it from the guys on the Suns and even the guys around the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Averaging a career high in points, a career high in steals, and a career high in free and field goal percentage.
yeah,
So
that's great.
we'll see what the Suns can do from here.